Assalamu alaikum everybody, I'm Ibrahim Khan from IFG. Part of what we do at IFG is we invest in startups. So over this last year, we've invested in 11 different companies and over £3 million. And as a result of that, we see thousands of pitch decks and talk to hundreds of founders. And naturally, you start seeing the trends and seeing the key ingredients to what then goes on to become the next big thing. In this video, I share with you 7 key ingredients, in our view, to what it takes to become a billion-dollar idea. And you should definitely be looking into entrepreneurship if that is what floats your boat. Because if you look at this list of the top 10 billionaires in the world, all of them owe their money to one big idea. So it's definitely worth it to really rack your brains and come up with that one thing. And we do recommend that you think about going into entrepreneurship, because if you look at this list of the world's biggest billionaires, all of them owe their wealth to one idea that they succeeded in massively. So it is really important, if you want to be super rich, to go into entrepreneurship. So let's dive in and find out what these 7 ingredients are to a billion-dollar idea. But before we do, we would be very grateful if you could subscribe and hit the bell icon to keep in the loop on all of our content in the future. So ingredient 1 is go for a large target addressable market. Go for a market that is really, really big, because the more people that you have as potential customers or users, the more that you can potentially sell. Even if you have a great idea, but only 5 people in this world want it, and they're only willing to pay £5 for it, then you've got a maximum of 25 quid there to play with. That's not a great idea. But if you are willing to go for an idea that has billions of people who are interested in it, even if they only want to pay £1 or 2 each, that is a billion-dollar idea. And you should go for something that there is a real need for, that people are crying out, and this is a real pain point for that person. Because a lot of people, we find when they go into entrepreneurship, they go for something that they would like to do, but they don't really think about whether or not it's something that is actually viable and lots of other people like to do as well. So really do think about that and think about what is the scale for your idea. So let's say you've come up with a solution that crushes cartons so that you can save space in the bin. Is that something that is truly scalable or not? And the answer could be yes, because everyone has bins, right? So this is the kind of thinking that you need to engage in when it comes to thinking about the target addressable market and the scale of your operation. So the second ingredient is go for an idea that has defensibility. There are 3 key ways that you can get defensibility in an idea. The first is network effects. So think of a company like Facebook. The more people that join Facebook, the more valuable it is for everyone. And so that means that for someone else to come along and create a new Facebook, they need to create something that is going to attract billions of people. It's just very hard to do. And Facebook is always going to have an advantage because it's much easier for them to attract more people now because there's everyone on there. So network effects is a great way of having a really strong defense against competitors. The second way is intellectual property. So if you are doing some deep research into things like, for example, pharmaceutical companies, medical companies have really deep technology and deep research that they do behind their business. And as a result of that, for someone to come along and try and compete with them, it's very hard to do because they're going to be taken to court and sued for violating patents. And so that is another very important way of defending your company against any competitors. The third way is by using economies of scale. So in this situation, as you grow, your costs are coming down and down and down. And that means that you can undercut all your competition. So the classic case for this is Amazon, right? Amazon is this absolute behemoth that has basically put so many businesses out of business because they can just undercut them on price left, right, and center. And they have a massive operation, and that means that their economies of scale and their costs are really low. So those are the 3 key ways that you can defend your business, and your business needs to have that if it's going to be able to get to that billion-dollar status. So the third ingredient is a team itself. This is absolutely vital because in early stage startups, that's what really determines the success of the company. We like teams that have track record of success. That doesn't necessarily mean business success. It could mean success by achieving really high grades. It could mean success in sports. It could mean any sort of success, but just something that shows that this is someone who has what it takes to really stick at it when things get hard, stick at something for years, and then ultimately come out with a good outcome. And that's the same in sports, it's the same in business, it's the same in academia. We really want to see that track record. We also want to see someone who has that ability to be agile and switch and change things up and is not stuck in their way, because in business things are changing all the time. You need that agility, so we want to see that in the team as well. And then finally, if you've got a team that has complementary skill sets, then that is perfect. We really like to see that as well. So this ingredient is all about building that traction and that minimum viable product that people can start using. Because the best teams are not those that just talk about ideas, the best teams are those that execute on ideas, even if they do it badly, because that allows them to fail and then they can iterate on that and get better. And it's so important to get what you're doing into the hands of users, because that's when you start getting feedback from them. And if you don't get feedback from them, then you don't know how to create a product that is actually going to be something that someone will pay you money for to do. And if you're not getting to that stage quickly, then that information is not getting back to you. So if you're selling something for the first time in a year's time, and you've spent a year building that product that you don't know is going to sell, that could be a year that you have wasted. Whereas if you get something really basic in the hands of the customer in 3 weeks' time, that dramatically increases the information that you're getting so you can actually build a product that is useful. So we like to see billion-dollar ideas that have traction, i.e. people have started using them and have been giving feedback, and ideally it's great feedback, and that go for an MVP, a minimum viable product approach, to get something in the hands of customers early doors. Because if it's something that they desperately need, they will be happy with something that isn't perfect, but is going to be meeting what they are really feeling the pain on right now. The fifth ingredient is to have good people skills, because every business is ultimately selling to people. If you are direct to consumer, then you definitely need great people skills, especially when it comes to after sales care. But even if you're B2B, ultimately when you're selling into a business, you are still selling to the individuals who are part of that business. So absolutely essential is to have that ability to build rapport with other human beings. So ingredient 6 is that you should be focused on iteration and be data-driven. So the best billion-dollar ideas may well start off as something completely different to where they end up on. And that's because you come out to the market with a thesis. This is what we think is going to solve this problem. Almost inevitably, you're not going to be perfectly right. The market tells you what it thinks. And so then you have to keep on adapting and iterating. So an iterative business model is the one that really succeeds. And the business model that focuses on data is the one that gets that information in the clearest, cleanest way, so that it can then use that data to understand their business and their product better, tweak the product to make it fit with the market's needs, and then go back to the market and give them a product that's even better. And that's why we think that the sixth ingredient is being data-driven and being iterative in your business. The final ingredient is possibly the most important ingredient, and that is speed. The companies that move the fastest take the quickest market share, they learn the fastest, they fail the fastest, they get the best people. All of these things are super important for your business to succeed. And so the companies that have speed ingrained within their culture and psyche are typically the ones that we find have what it takes to become billion-dollar companies. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 7 key ingredients that, in our view, are important in creating billion-dollar ideas. You don't have to necessarily have all of them, but if you have a bunch of them, you're going to be in a much better position. Have we missed any ideas, by the way? Have we missed any ingredients? Please do let us know in the comment section below.